cargo and military planes, tons of boxes in international aid. This Air Force base is the logistical nerve center for the distribution of aid and evacuation of Typhoon Haiyan victims. The international community is responding, but there are still glitches.
Since the Leyte province has no electricity, there is no navigational equipment which will guide the airplanes to land and safely on the airports. So it is being grounded for safety reasons, not for any other reason. And of course, we want to control the entry of these goods so that there will be no riots. The distribution will be peaceful and very controlled.
Thousands have been internally displaced. This man was rescued from his flooded home. Janji Chauke, SABC News, Cebu Island, Philippines.
Welcome back to Philippines Uncut. I'm Buddy Kunana. Tonight's topic is the international response to Yolanda. And still with us are Dr. Rodrigo Ong of the 161st Coast Guard Auxiliary Squadron and Rescue 926, and Mr. Norman Camongol of the Honorary Consulate of Georgia in the Philippines. So Dr. Ong, Mr. Camongol, welcome back to our second segment. Now let's take off from what we watched earlier, just now. What is that all about? I mean, grounding the plane, and that was a difficulty you encountered going in.
Yeah, logistically we had difficulties in getting ourselves and our goods to Leyte. As you can imagine, after 5 days, a lot of goods were already being shipped from Manila, from the international community to Cebu, then to Leyte. When we were in Cebu, we went to Mactan Air Base, as you've seen a while ago. That was a scene at around 1 to 2 p.m. in Mactan Air Base. They were still busy loading the C-130s with goods from the international community. These goods have been queued since day one.
Wow.
Day one. No, we were there on the what? On the 5th, 6th day. We were not able to get into the manifest of a C-130 bound for either or Moc or Tacloban.
Because of the traffic.
Because of the traffic,
Want to go in.
Yeah, but on the last minute, we were able to get into the manifest of the Canadian Air Force. But we did not know when the plane would be flying. They said it would be within 72 hours. So we did not have the luxury of time. We had to scrap the plan of flying into Leyte, so we had to take the pump boats to Palampon, which took 8 hours.
Who was doing all the coordinating? You're now here with this big group of South Africans. You're stuck on Mactan Air Base, and like you said, there's Canadian, there's Philippine, Indonesian. I mean, like, I can only imagine this is one big bureaucratic, maze that you have to navigate, talking to different nationalities, different officials. So how did you guys even get on the manifest of the Canadian Air Force?
We were able to talk directly with the pilot of the
like you
the
approach the pilot and say, hi sir,
That's correct.
We need to go to Leyte.
We first tried to coordinate with the OCD and the NDRMC, whose office was there in Mactan Air Base. But they could not do anything about the manifest.
That really is the prerogative of the host, the country sending, for sure.
So we were able to identify the pilot who was in charge of his C-130. We discreetly went to him and, sir, is there any space for us? How many are you? 40. Oh, okay. We have exactly 40 seats for you.
Amazing.
And together with 6 tons of goods, we would fly out within 72 hours.
I guess in a situation like that, it's almost like a war, being in a war zone. No? So
it was.
You really have to improvise, adapt, overcome.
Yes. And because of the gravity of the situation in Palampon, we had to get there as soon as possible. So it's either the plane within 3 days or a pump boat within 8 hours.
And you guys decided pump. But before I go to the pump boat story, Norman, you were here in the Philippines while Dr. Ong was over there. I mean, you were in Manila while Dr. Ong was busy making his way with the team to Leyte. But I understand that there was also a group that arrived here while they were en route to Leyte. How did you? And I understand you were the one who met them at the airport. I mean, how was that like? I mean, making sure they got on a plane, they head down there. How did you manage that?
Well, Okay, this is the second group of Gift of the Givers that Dr. Ong just mentioned a while ago.
Yeah.
This group was headed by the founder of Gift of the Givers, Dr. Imtiaz Soliman.
Oh, he came down himself to the
He
Philippines.
came down himself. He basically wanted to see for himself what's going on. So he came in, and I met him in the airport, and they were booked for a flight directly from Naiya, going to Cebu in about 6 hours or so.
Yeah.
So they didn't leave the airport anymore. So I met them there, and we escorted them from Terminal 2 to Terminal 3, where they had to go to an Air Asia flight.
So it wasn't that difficult here. I mean, getting on a plane, a connecting flight to Cebu, it wasn't difficult, given all the traffic to that area.
Well, the problem there was also a lot of these other countries that are arriving also, bringing their specialists as well. So the traffic was, it's a given in the area, given that there are a lot of other aid organizations coming in.
Yep.
But I was able to brief also Dr. Suleiman on what's going on with what Dr. Butch has been doing in Palompon, as well as Gift the Givers. Obviously, they've been transmitting reports to Dr. Suleiman while he was still in South Africa.
So he knew what was going on here.
He knew, basically, but during the 24 hours that he was traveling, we gave him a briefing, and then
because things had been moving very fast at that point, no? In fact, like you guys, touch and go. You know,
Yes.
you don't know if you're going to be in a Canadian C-130 or a pump boat, and you end up in a pump boat. Now, Dr. Ong, let's talk about that pump boat. So you eventually, all of you, and we're talking about 60 people, 50, 60 people, South Africans and Filipinos together with gear.
Yes.
How many
yes.
pump boats was that?
So we tried not to overload the pump boat.
I
So
mean, I've been a pump boat. I mean, come on.
so we chartered 2 pump boats.
Okay.
That would bring 5 tons each of goods,
All right.
plus 10 people, at 15 people each.
All right, all right.
So we were complete as a group. We arrived in Palompon, but we started out at 5:30 a.m. To be able to reach Palompon at around lunchtime. So we came out. We had a nice 2 hours of boat ride until noon came in. So we were already in rough seas.
Where the bancas, the pump boats can't go really fast because
Really
they have
fast,
to
yeah.
ride the waves, so
Ride
to
the-
speak. Yeah, sure.
So we were rocking, with the waves. We were getting ourselves wet with the seawater. Some people got really dizzy, just fell asleep. But it was the longest 6 hours of our lives.
Sure, I'm sure. And how did the South Africans react to that? I mean, was it a difficult experience?
Most of them slept it out.
Now, Dr. Ong, I have a question. A lot of the focus of attention had been on Leyte. I mean, on Tacloban.
Yes.
News, Tacloban this, Tacloban that. Understandably, the capital was devastated. Why did you guys go to Palompon? How did you guys identify? How did you identify Palompon as an area that you had to go to?
Initially, we had wanted to go to Tacloban because all the news
Sure.
was directed towards Tacloban, so the intel was really there. However, the intel was a bit choppy and unreliable within that first week. Not much news has been trickling into Manila. So we decided to get ourselves to another place who has not yet received humanitarian aid, but has received their share of the typhoon. So we tracked the eye of the storm. We tried to see which coastal community had the eye had passed through. So we identified Palompon. Another good thing was that the vice mayor is a good friend of the family. So we were able to contact her, and indeed, she reported a 98 to 99% destruction of her town.
98%.
Yes.
I mean, you contacted her by cell phone.
By cell phone.
I mean, the cell sites were still working, thank God.
Thank God that she was in Cebu.
She was in Cebu, all right.
Yeah.
Okay, thought it was,
She was in Cebu with the intention of going to Palompon as soon as possible. Fortunately, the lines in Palompon were not really clear, but in Cebu it was consistent. So after speaking with her and getting the statistics, how many people were there, what kind of diseases were to be found, what kind of destructions are to be expected, I immediately spoke with Dr. Ahmed from the Gift the Givers for us to be able to provide the needed materials for Palampon. We didn't want to bring any unnecessary baggage with us. So food, clothing, building materials, hospital equipment were brought to Palampon.
Now, okay, Dr. Ron, you said 98% of the town was devastated. Now, you have been to many disaster areas.
Yes.
You're a veteran of many
Yes.
relief missions, medical missions, humanitarian missions. Now, how would you describe this compared to everything else you've seen in the past? I mean, you were in Bohol earthquake. You were deployed also.
Habagat,
Yes, and in all the other places. How would you compare this?
This is one of the worst.
Really the worst.
It's really one of the worst areas I've been to in terms of the destruction and damage. I often describe it as a giant foot stomping on the city and squishing them.
Okay, so you guys, you and the South Africans, are in these pump boats. You reach Palumpon, the pier in Palumpon. I mean, what was the scene like?
Okay.
What was the scene like?
So, 30 minutes before we arrived in Palampon, we were still at sea.
Okay.
And everyone was in relatively high spirits because they were excited.
Sure, I mean, let's get in action.
The boat captain said, we're almost there. Everybody wake up and get ready. So everybody was joking around. Everyone is in a jolly mood. We're getting ready.
Getting
pumped
psyched.
up.
Yeah, psyched.
And then we saw Palampon and dead silence. People were just looking at shock.
What was it like? I mean, what was the scene? I mean, like,
the mountains which used to be green was now brown. All the houses had no roofs. Some of the houses had no walls.
wow.
And people were there outside in the Baywalk area, seemingly waiting for help. And we were coming in. They were getting together to welcome us, to bring they were wondering who we were.
Yes, because they had, I assume they had no contact with authorities. Okay, it has been reported. I mean, Anderson Cooper and from CNN and all had said very controversially that like government was almost invisible in these areas. Now, what was it like in Palampon? Was there government presence when you got there? Did you feel that there was a government presence, or everything had just been almost wiped clean by the hand of God almost? No.
We did not have any. We did not see any national government intervention during when we arrived in Palampon.
Yes.
It was only the LGU who was moving.
Oh, so the LGU had a presence.
The mayor, vice mayor,
vice mayor.
all his councilors, and the barangay captains were the ones involved in the
Well, let's name the mayor and the vice mayor. I mean, bravo. I mean, what is...
Mayor Ramon Oñate.
Ramon Oñate, mayor of Palampon, and vice mayor...
Vice Mayor George Arevalo.
Bravo.
Yes.
Bravo.
In fact, the mayor and the vice mayor, before the storm hit Palampon, they warned the people already. Told them to come down from the mountains and go to a safe area. That is why there are only 7 or 8 casualties.
Wow. So you mean to tell me this town that you saw were 98% devastated, houses been wiped out, destroyed, roofs gone, etc., and only 7 casualties?
Only 7.
How big is the 7 casualties? How big is the town? What is the population?
70,000.
More or less.
70,000.
So we're talking about not even 1%.
1% less.
Yeah.
Yes. Because of the early warning that they gave, and because of the system that they had, they perhaps had an evacuation center ready.
Yes.
For the people to go to in these types of disaster. But
Now, okay,
really,
why wasn't this replicated in other places like Leyte, in Tacloban? Or was it a different case altogether, Palumpon and Tacloban?
I believe it's just the way the local government handled their town. In the case of Mayor Oñate and Vice Mayor Arevalo, they were really out in the streets doing their jobs.
Yes.
They went out of their office and held office in front of the building.
No, but okay, this super typhoon, I mean, this caught many people by surprise. I mean, in this country, we're used to typhoons. We're a typhoon country. We're hit by typhoons, I don't know how many dozen every year. I mean, did you guys at Rescue 926 Coast Guard Auxiliary, did you expect this kind of devastation, this kind of power from this typhoon? No, right?
No.
Yeah.
We actually expected to do medical missions and go back home. We did not expect to see houses destroyed, families orphaned. We did not expect to see crops die and wither because of the storm. Because of the storm, 99% or 100% of their economy has stopped, which is heavily based on copra.
Wow, wow.
All coconut trees are felled or down.
Okay.
All all small crops, vegetables, all destroyed. So I can imagine the length of time before the economy can run again.
So clearly, a lot of reconstruction. I mean, this is a problem that, as you said, it's
Yeah.
not your usual medical mission. But you go, you
Yes.
do something, you stay for a couple of weeks, and you go home, and pretty
Yes.
much the community
Yeah.
picks up where it left off. But
Right.
here, it really the scale of devastation. It'll take a long time.
We now have to go into disaster recovery and rehabilitation versus in the usual sense we were going to relief and medical missions. Now we have to help out, stimulate the economy, help them get them back up on their feet as soon as possible.
Okay. Now, you mentioned earlier that the gift of the givers are deploying again in Feb. This coming
I
February,
believe, yes,
in a few months, in 2 months' time, and also to Palompon, back to Palompon, the same
Yes.
area. Now, what are you guys going to do now with them in this
All right.
next deployment?
Initially, they have already started with the rehabilitation of the provincial hospital
Okay.
in Palampon. No? The hospital was so destroyed that the wards were closed, roofs were gone, all the equipment on the second floor destroyed. They started to bring in machines, which they bought from Cebu. The second team also brought machines from South Africa, like the anesthesia machine,
Yes.
to be able to help the hospital run again.
Yes.
So they rehabilitated the roof, the ceiling, the electricals, even repainted the hospital.
Yes.
After that, they're now focusing on the homes.
Okay.
I believe they have a housing program, a build-a-house program, wherein they're bringing, I think, prefab houses
Beautiful.
into
So
Palampon.
this is really the next phase, the reconstruction effort, and the gift of the givers is really coming in and going to participate
Yes,
in
they
this.
are. Yes,
Excellent.
yes.
Excellent. Now, Norman, on your end, I understand that the Georgian consulate is organizing some fundraising activities in South Africa
Right.
for gift of the givers and Philippine Coast Guard Auxiliary / Rescue 926. What is this project? about?
This fundraiser is called Rainbow of Hope, a celebration of Philippine-South African friendship. It's going to be a swim from Cape Town all the way to Robben Island. Now, Robben Island, for the information of your viewers, is where the late President Nelson Mandela was incarcerated, was jailed for 27 years.
Yes.
So it's also a UNESCO heritage site. And of course, a lot of other swimmers have been there, but this is going to be the first time that Filipinos will be
Bravo.
swimming
Nice, nice.
from Cape
A
Town.
symbolic swim,
yeah,
eh?
making the swim.
Yes, yes.
This is a fundraiser for the benefit of Rescue 926 and for the Gift of the Givers, to help them with the rehabilitation efforts in Palampon in Leyte.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah.
And I'd like to add that
Please.
because Norman mentioned it was the first time that the Philippines and South Africa would have a friendship meet. I'd like to add that this mission itself, by itself, was the first time that South Africans sent a humanitarian mission to the Philippines. And they did that with such success and with such impact
Yes,
that
yes.
even the municipality of Palampon adopted them as
Imagine
sons of Palampon or whatnot.
Oh, in their hour of need, in their darkest hour.
Yes.
They're brothers and sisters from South Africa, from Peter Maritzburg, I think, where Dr. Suleiman is from. Peter Maritzburg. They came and they lent a hand, and that's when that's when you appreciate amistad, right?
Yes,
Friendship,
yeah, friendship.
brotherly love, that kind of thing. Anyway, guys, we have 1 minute to close. Let's have a very, very quick closing statement. Let's start first with Norman.
Okay. We in the Consulate of Georgia would like to ask for your contribution to the relief efforts, the rehabilitation efforts that we're doing right now for Leyte, especially in the town of Palampon. Please support our rehabilitation efforts as well as the efforts of our swimmers in South Africa. They will be there to raise funds for our programs for Rescue 926 as well as the Gift of the Givers.
Thank you. Dr. Ong?
I'd like to personally thank the Gift of the Givers Foundation, Dr. Suleiman and Dr. Ahmed for their assistance and for coming to the Philippines in the aid of Palompon, Leyte. In the darkest hour, you provided light.
Beautiful.
When they were hungry, you provided food. And you really helped us get Palompon back on their feet. I would like to appeal to the people in South Africa to support the swim meet, which Norman has mentioned, to help also rehabilitate the municipality of Palompon in Leyte.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ong and Norman. Thank you very much, Mr. Kamunggol, and for your efforts. Keep it up. You guys are warriors. Doing a good job. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So guys, I hope you learned a lot about the situation in Leyte, in Palompon specifically, and also about this wonderful effort of 3 countries coming together, Georgia, South Africa, and the Philippines, coming together to help the stricken areas caused by this super typhoon Yolanda. So join us again next week here in the show where we talk about what matters to you, because you guys matter the most. Have a Merry Christmas.